Welcome to the fourth part of the energy unit, and today we'll be solely talking about the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle, in overview, the purpose is to produce glucose. This is the second part of photosynthesis. Remember, the first part is light-dependent reaction. So why is it called the Calvin cycle? Is because of this gentleman here, Mr. Melvin Ellis Calvin. He is a chemist at the University of Berkeley, California. For his work in discovering the Calvin cycle, he was awarded the Nobel Prize, a very prestigious prize, in 1961. He did not work alone. He had help in which he worked with Mr. Andrew Benson and also Mr. James Bassam. All three of them worked at the University of California, Berkeley. So the general overview of the Calvin cycle is shown here. There are 3 steps. The first step is called carbon fixation. The second step here shown, there's a lot more because there's 2 parts to the second step. The production of 3-phosphoglycerate and also the production of glucose. And the last step here is restocking the ribulose biphosphate. So the first step is carbon fixation. This is where the plants take the opportunity of taking carbon dioxide from the environment and putting it to a chemical form of sugar. So to make 1 molecule of sugar, glucose, the Calvin cycle has to go through 6 times, because only 1 carbon dioxide is allowed for every cycle. So in total, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide with 6 molecules of ribulose biphosphate. The ribulose biphosphate is a type of 5-carbon sugar. Together, they will form 12 3-phosphoglycerates. Now, if you notice, you start off with 6 ribulose biphosphate groups. And if it runs through 6 times, that will give you 12 3-phosphoglycerates. That way, the carbon stays consistent number of carbon. The second step in the Calvin cycle is it's called the 3-phosphoglycerate and glucose production. Here, 2 of the phosphoglycerate molecules can be found to form 1 molecule of glucose. So they'll take 2 from the 12 of the 3-phosphoglycerate there, and then eventually with the cycle, it'll form 1 molecule of glucose. So in order to do that, they'll need some energy. Take 12 ATPs and 12 NADPHs. All of these are from the light-dependent reactions. When you do the 12 ATPs, it will produce 12 ADPs in phosphorus and releasing action. Then you have 12 NADPHs, which are turned into NADPs. Now, they don't use all 12. For every time it goes through, it takes 2 of those 3-phosphoglycerates, creating 1 glucose. Now, if this was to go through 6 times, you'll get 6 molecules of glucose towards the end. So, let's go over the process again. You have 12 3-phosphoglycerates. Now those 12, you take 2 of them and you add 12 ATPs, which will create 12 ADPs and Ps, 12 NADPHs, giving you 12 NADPs. The energy will create 2 3-phosphoglycerates, which will in turn create 1 molecule of glucose. Now, originally we had 12, minus the 2 that we used to make sugar. We'll have left with 10 molecules of 3-phosphoglycerate left. So the second step is showing that we have remaining 10 3-phosphoglycerates. With the 10 3-phosphoglycerates, that'll take us to the third step. And the third step is going to be called restocking the 3-phosphoglycerates. So the other 10 3-phosphoglycerates are recycled back to the ribulose biphosphate group. So we take 10 of those, and in order to do that, we'll expend some energy. So 10 3-phosphoglycerates with 6 ATPs will make 6 ADPs with phosphorus, and you end up with this 6-fibrillose biphosphate again, the 5-carbon sugar. And this is the last step of the carbon cycle. Now, this is a picture of the carbon cycle in order to understand why we have issues with carbon dioxide and global warming. Has to do with carbon dioxide. And we learned in photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is taken and used, made into sugar, whereas animals usually respire those plant respiration. So what is the carbon cycle? You have photosynthesis going up in the trees and also in the ocean with photoplankton. Putting that to use, it takes in some of the carbon dioxide from the environment. But at the same time, there are things happening, like when things die, it puts in carbon dioxide. Microbial respiration, decomposition that happens in the sea and the ground, that creates more carbon dioxide. And of course, last but not least, is ourselves as humans. We produce a lot of carbon dioxide waste. So in a way, the carbon cycle idea is that no matter, you can't destroy the carbon dioxide, but it is being put in different forms. Whether it's recycled, being used up as a resource, like in photosynthesis, or discarded as a byproduct in photorespiration and metabolism. And this understanding will come to our end of our carbon cycle. Thank you for listening.